thank you. Caroline's not here, no. So, okay, well, we'll just skip New Central Library and we'll move to 23, Taylor's Mistake, Baches Working Party, and I'd like to invite Sarah to introduce this report.
Thank you. So the Working Party has met 3 times and done a site visit to Taylor's Mistake, Hobson's Bay and to Boulder Bay. Access to Māori Gardens is particularly difficult, and rising from that and a lack of further information on Māori Garden and the fact that it is quite a different situation, we'd like to recommend a change to the initial sort of terms of reference of the Working Party. The initial resolution didn't include Hobson's Bay, although that was the understanding that the Working Party would be looking at Hobson's Bay, so we'd like that specifically included in the resolution. But also the Working Party was of the view that Māori Garden was different to the other places that we were looking at, which have got high public interest, have been through a very robust district plan and environment court process, and we've also had information that there are many more now structures, potentially Baches, in other places around Banks Peninsula, and that Māori Garden would be best placed with those in a new process after this one has finished. And so we'd like to have Māori Garden removed from the original terms of reference for the Working Party. The other thing that has come up is that just at our last Working Party meeting, which was after this report was written, was that it's clear that while Council has asked the Working Party to recommend whether or not to authorise and under what conditions, there is no request for the Working Party to recommend what to do should we decide not to authorise the Baches to stay. And so there is some further wording that's just gone up on the screen. So including a process for dealing with the outcome should the recommendation be to not authorise the Baches. And we thought that that would make sense if you were looking for a resolution of the whole issue. The other thing is that there was a 2010 resolution that Council passed which had some clauses in it that are no longer relevant, and so we're just asking that those ones be revoked. They were under the old district plan.
So all you're putting in is or not on that second one. So it changes, takes out Māori Gardens and puts in Hobson's Bay. Yeah, and then I understand that. Yeah, so it's just the last, after the words Boulder Bay in number 2 there, it's that last, after the comma. Yeah. Is the new thing, the new recommendation. We just want to make sure that the process is really clean, and so if the Working Party decided not to authorise Baches, there is nothing currently within our terms of reference which would allow us to make a recommendation to council as to what to do. Well, other than you would be recommending. I mean, I think all we would be doing is recommending that you don't authorise. But then what is the question? Right. So did you want us to do the work to work out what to do should we decide to recommend not to? That's all. Otherwise, a new process would need to be set up, in all likelihood. Yeah, can we just add in including a recommended process for dealing with the outcome? Because it may well be that the council doesn't accept the... Oh, absolutely. Yeah. I mean, the to recommend is right at the very beginning of that paragraph anyway, to recommend to the council. Yeah. Yeah. Right. So, so you'd like to move that? Yes. Seconded by Andrew. Is there any questions, any discussion? Aaron?
Yeah, I look forward to the outcome of this because it's, I'm probably glad I'm not on the Working Party, to be honest, but going forward, for a long time I've always wondered why so many parts of Christchurch and Banks Peninsula are so boring by having a lack of things like beach huts in Brighton, how much that would change the waterfront if we allowed the lease of land for that, like they have in the UK, and people living on barge boats on our rivers and boat houses along the edge of the estuary. Like, we could be such a more dynamic, and especially as we have housing issues and the land affordability becomes a problem, that some of these other different solutions to living and using our waterways could be interesting. So that's why this is a step that'll get us certainly determine a direction that we may take a lot further down the track. But I look forward to it for that. Do I sound weird right now? Am I on my own? You only like people living in boats.
I'd just like to make it clear as well that the next stage from here is the community engagement on this. So,
yeah. Andrew.
I'll just make a couple of comments regarding Maori Gardens, which for councillors who may not know is on the coastline between Rapaki and Governor's Bay at Littleton Harbour. There are 4 small batches which are occupying what appears to be public land there. But the issues at Maori Gardens are more like the issues of Baches and other structures, of which there are a number, probably an unknown number, in many parts of Banks Peninsula, many of which have been there for a very long time. So the thinking is that the Maori Gardens issues are better dealt with as part of a process that maybe at some point addresses those issues across Banks Peninsula and maybe in other parts of the city, rather than being dealt with as part of this Taylor's Mistake working party. The issues at Taylor's Mistake are quite different, in as much as there are particular provisions in the district plan. There's the batch zone at Taylor's Mistake, which may form part of our consideration. Maori Gardens is definitely more like some of the issues that we would end up considering in other parts of Banks Peninsula, where the issues are the same as the Maori Gardens ones. So for all it was originally included in there, the working group's thinking is that Maori Gardens would be better dealt with as part of any process that would look at the wider issue across Banks Peninsula.
Very good. Yanni?
There was some discussion at the working party around that. I mean, I personally do raise concern that where we've got batches in high hazard zones or with high risk, that we do need a process to actually do something. I think the staff might like to just give a very brief description of the legal, possibly the legal advice, or maybe not. But certainly, I mean, yeah, I think we need to set that process up for those others in the Port Hills ASAP, given that some, like Māori Gardens, are in what I think would be pretty high risk zones for cliff collapse, and we're aware of that. We're aware of that through the district plan process. So I think we do have to do something in that regard. But I'm happy to support the resolutions today. I just think we also need to start thinking very urgently about what we do with those other areas that are at high risk.
All right. I'll put the motion. All those in favour say aye. Aye. Those opposed say no. That's carried.